since there have been cars, there have been car enthusiasts. But Corvette enthusiasts are often cited as the perfect example of those who take their devotion to the absolute furthest extremes. Among them are a few who take their love for the Corvette all the way to the Corvette Hall of Fame. One such person is Mike Yager. It seemed as if Mike was destined for a life with Corvette, as 5 out of 6 of his brothers had owned them at one time or another.
I had a brother chopping and channeling a 32 Ford pickup truck on one side of the garage, putting a Chevy engine in it, the important thing. On the other side of the garage, the brother's 20 years older, Corky, was working on a 28 Dodge, a 40 Mercury, a 26 T, and a 38 Hudson Terraplane. So you can imagine 2 brothers, one into hot rods and cutting things up, and the other and say, why would anybody cut up an old car? They ought to restore them. So that was my childhood. I grew up with cars, and both sides of the cars, the restoration and the hot rod side.
Like many, Mike's Corvette story began early in life. He remembers with stunning detail seeing his first Corvette when he was just 12 years old.
In 1962, my brother Frank bought a 60 Corvette, and he was driving a truck. He owned his own trucking company at that time, and I was with him on the truck coming through St. Louis, and he was telling me about the Corvette that he bought, and he said, look over there, there's a 62 Corvette, silver, right next to the Pillsbury plant. I remember the first day that I saw that car and having a brother that says, I have a Corvette. And the old proverbial, the hook was set. I grew up around cars, but I found the car my choice, a Corvette. I remember the first summer he brought it up to Effingham, Memorial Day weekend, 1962, and I went for a ride in it. But that car just really set my whole world, changed my life. I think of that car, that brother, my brothers. I wouldn't be who I am today if it weren't for the influence of brothers, and certainly when Frank bought that 60 Corvette, boy, that did it for me.
This led to another pivotal moment when Mike's brother let him drive his 1968 Corvette.
My brother Kenny, one of my heroes in life, when he got home from Vietnam, and he's one of the many Vietnam veterans that came home differently than when he left. He was actually wounded in Vietnam, and he used to send messages home when they'll all be fine in '69 and I'm going to buy a Corvette. Well, when he came home early, he bought a '68 Corvette, and he was in a body cast from his waist down to his wrist. And one night he said, well, you can take my Corvette into town. I've got a shower, and I'll take your car in. Well, I had a '62 four-door sedan Chevrolet Impala with air conditioning. Its only redeeming quality. And I'm thinking, cool, I'm going to go into hometown, cruise through the dog and suds. All the women are going to see me, and I'm in a Corvette. And we lived 3 miles out of town. I left. He went in to shower, and in 3 miles' time, which is probably 3 minutes, I looked in the rearview mirror, and there was a '62 Chevy flashing its headlights at me. I didn't even get to cruise the dog and suds. I had to pull over early and swap out cars, and I've never forgiven Kenny from that point on. And I said, you know, someday I'm going to own a Corvette.
Mike started to make good on that promise to himself, borrowing $3,200 to buy a 1967 Corvette Roadster. Along the way, he made a life-changing realization.
I started going to car shows and realized that there wasn't any place that you could buy everything you wanted. You could buy a t-shirt here, you could buy a coffee mug over there, so to speak. And I thought, I've got this wild idea. I want to start a Corvette business. I don't even know what a Corvette business is, but I want to start one. And my idea was to aggregate, if you will, different Corvette things together. Lapel pins, jackets, t-shirts. I mean, it just morphed out from there. But that was my original thought. So I got the nerve to borrow $500, had to walk into a bank, and at that time I had a pretty long ponytail, and had to ask if I could borrow some money. And to me, $500 was a lot of money for an idea. So I walked into the bank, borrowed that money, and then started buying stuff to sell. And I thought, well, yeah, it was a business, but my idea was I will sell enough stuff to support my Corvette hobby. My daily driver was my '67 Corvette, and the passenger seat was my warehouse. So if I ordered something, the UPS driver would deliver it to my '67 Corvette, and if I had packages to ship to my customers, it came off of the front seat of that Corvette. I took orders, I typed the orders, I bought the product, I did everything. Talked to the customers on the phone. A little bit scary, but it just kept growing and growing and growing, and I got more involved. And I learned early on that if you're engaged in the business and engaged with the customer, people like to do business with people. In 1994, it was Mid-America's 20th anniversary, and we had just finished a new corporate office building, put up another manufacturing building here, and we're just thinking, how did we get where we are today? And you look back and say, it's nothing I did, it's what our customers did for us. Got this wild idea to have an event here. 300 Corvettes showed up and 1,200 people. And we just had a fun time. Food was free, we had an open house, everything was free, fun, and flowing, I guess. And all the letters that I got from our customers said, thank you. This was like having a giant party in your backyard and like a festival, and this was so much fun. And as we read the letters, the thank you notes, fun, festival, friends all started coming in there, and we said, we're going to do it next year, and we're going to call it Fun Fest because that's the festival and we get fun in there. So the name was invented by our customers, and it was a customer appreciation party.
Each year, the event grew, going from hundreds of cars to thousands.
I remember the first time I went to Mike's event. I was impressed by what he was doing with the enthusiasts there on the grounds. It was like a carnival. I mean, you go in there and, you got all these Corvettes. You got acres of Corvettes parked. I've never seen that many Corvettes in one place before in my life. He's the head cheerleader. There's probably not any enthusiast that I've ever been around that really was more in tune with the people who buy the product and also love the product themselves. And I don't think anybody does better with having concerts for its customers. I mean, that's one thing we always look forward to in going to Effingham is wonder who Mike's gonna have in concert.
I learned of Mike through Dan Gale. And Dan said, you need to go to a place called Fun Fest. But I did get an opportunity to go there, meet with Mike, and we talked about our dreams, the dream of a museum. And not only is Mike a cheerleader of Corvette, but he's also a cheerleader of the museum. And when I talked to him about us opening up an annex, he was the first one to step up to the plate and say, Ray, how can I help? And he helped several ways. One was providing us with paraphernalia, shirts, and various Corvette items that we could sell at the store.
Early on, the gift shop was all of our products for the museum, and they sold. We sent cars out of my collection at that time to Bowling Green. And, my passion for the museum is so strong. When I think of the museum, I think of one of Corvette's best taglines, past, present, and future.
This is the oldest surviving C4. I bet you can guess who bought the last one to come off the line.
There weren't many people buying the last. Everybody wanted the first. But I got thinking the best is always the last. That might be because I'm the youngest of 9 kids. Just saying. But anyhow, I bought the last C4. I got the chance to film the car from birdcage to the end. Everybody in the plant from the UAW members, they all signed the car. all the management team came out, all the employees, all the vendors that were there. There's over 1,500 signatures somewhere on that car. It also has the last small block out of Flint, Michigan in it. It was just such a magical day to know that not only did I get to watch the car be built, my car, but it's the last C4 that will ever be built. Well, we were there, and my youngest son, Blake, crawled underneath the car and was reading the names.
Names like Hot Dog, Davenport.
Davenport hot dog, huh?
Hot Dog.
So if anyone said, what one Corvette would you want to own the rest of your life? It's a C4. It's the last C4. That comes because of my relationship with Jim Perkins, all the way to Blake finding the signature Hot Dog on the rear of the car. Such fond memories of that program. Will Cooksey, probably the most stellar plant manager that I could ever dream of running the Corvette plant. What a great team he put together. Think of Dave McClellan. I just go back through the guys that were at the top for Corvette at that time. They're friends, and they helped me get this car.
As if all that were not enough to lock in his place in Corvette history, he was behind the effort to have Corvette's birthday recognized as the National Drive Your Corvette to Work Day. And you might remember that postage stamp that honored the first Corvette? Yep, Mike was behind that one too.
One of the features of Mike Yager is that he's a family man. And family starts at home. And I've been so blessed to know him and watch his family grow when the boys were younger and small. In fact, one of the scenes that I still remember is the day this museum opened, Mike Yager was at the podium with his two sons. I thought that was quite an image to see. But the other piece of that is that, yes, he's a family man and he runs his business as a family business, and all of his kids are in the business, their wives are in it, their kids are in it. But the other thing is Mike's a family man for Corvette. You go to his events and everybody's hugging him, everybody's thanking him, and he loves every one of those people. And it's a relationship that you rarely see in the business world anymore.
Some might see Mid-America Motor Works as a business, but for Mike, it is so much more than that. He looks at it like it's his way of preserving Corvette's past by helping fellow enthusiasts keep their Corvettes out on the road, making memories.
So you wonder, why do I say I'm the most blessed, most fortunate person that's ever walked the face of the earth? Imagining getting imprinted, seeing a Corvette, and then go through your life, and it becomes your life, and everybody involved in that product is part of your life, is an important part of your life. I'm one of many involved in this hobby, but I am so fortunate, and I wouldn't be here today, wouldn't be here tonight without the support of lots and lots of people. I didn't do it. I was a conduit through which things happened, and the person that I would most thank is my customer, each individual one. We say as a tagline at Mid-America Motor Works, pursue your passion here. And much like being chief cheerleader, passion was what I'm about. I'm passionate for the brand. I'm passionate for the customer. That's who I am, and my reward is sitting here tonight.
For his contagious enthusiasm for Corvette and Corvette people, along with his efforts to make the Corvette lifestyle as enjoyable and meaningful as he can for everyone. We proudly welcome Mike Yager into the 2018 Corvette Hall of Fame.